We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay. I pretty much been busy. Well, let's start off with Sunday. Sunday, I just pretty much caught up on a lot of sleep. I didn't even watch as much football as I wanted. And the last 2 days, I've been pretty busy. So it's very rare that I even get the quarterback video out this late. So guess what? After you listen to this one, I promise by the evening, you'll get your running back video. But welcome back to the Grade A Flicks channel. For Grade A Fantasies, QB preview for week. Good Lord, are we? Yeah, it's week 10, right? Man, this season has blown by. Yeah, we're at the halfway point. All right, let's get right into it. When it comes to the payoff options, there is a significant difference. Jalen Hurts, it's a 1,000 difference from him to third. Josh Allen, it's 800 from him to third price quarterback. Jalen Hurts, great matchup with a pretty much a collapsing Dallas defense. It's still a great matchup. I'm not saying you're going to get the 3 QB sneak game, but I think this could be one of those games where you get a mixture of him throwing 2 touchdowns and running for maybe 80 or whatever the case is and getting a tush push here and there for a touchdown. I definitely see Jalen Hurts with more than a 2 total TD upside in this game without a doubt. Dallas defense is not putting up much resistance, and if by any chance, which does happen, Saquon, A.J. Brown get tackled inside the 3 or the 2, yeah, that's going to be pretty much an automatic touchdown. Sounds bad for Barkley, which I love Barkley every week, but Jalen Hurts, that Eagles defense, I think they see I think they see their sharks. They see blood in the water. I think not only fantasy-wise, this looks like a game that the Eagles know if they win this, they pretty much kill Dallas out of the playoff hopes in a way, and they only got to worry about Washington Commanders. That's pretty much it. I think this is one of those that if they win this game, they know that they don't really have much else to worry about except for one team in the division. So, big fantasy upside game for Jalen Hurts. Gotta always love Josh Allen, especially going against Indianapolis. Dome matchup, so him in good weather. He looks a lot better if Amari Cooper gets back. That's news waiting, obviously pending. We are in the middle of the week. Teams are either in their first, if they got the day off Monday, teams are either in their first practice or second practice by now. By the time this comes out, teams should be around the league should be in their second practice, because normally they don't really head out to travel if they're the team on the road to about later in the week, like Thursday, Friday, going into Saturday. But Josh Allen at Indy, like I said, nothing too overly impressive with these 2 prices. Like I said, what you're looking for is boom with Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. So you're looking for basically times 3 when it comes to the fantasy points. He's been quite there almost. Boom twice. So it's definitely in his moniker to do it with 2 30-point games. But like I said, this is definitely one of his easier matchups or whatever. If I go back to Josh Allen, let's see how he did against poorly ranked defenses. So there's Tennessee. And, things have changed since. But obviously when you look at defenses, you're not scared of Arizona, Jacksonville. Obviously, the Jets struggled a bit, and then 27th ranked Tennessee. So, he almost got there. He's consistently around that 2.5, but that boom, that hey, I need this. He's capable of doing it because he has the 31.18. It was off to a slow start too. He got most of that in the second half because Arizona was actually pushing the Bills in that first game of the season, and then week 2, the 30.92, he did against Jacksonville. So yes, Indy did look somewhat impressive against Minnesota, but Sam Darnold and Minnesota, even though the main guy there is the wide receiver Justin Jefferson, Sam Darnold and Minnesota are not the same caliber in that sense of Josh Allen and the Bills. So I think Josh Allen once again is another, solid GPP play. He's been low owned every week. I don't think there has even been one week this year he's been over even like a random percentage like 6.2. He's always under 6 and 5. I've rostered him even on those boom weeks when he was like 3 and 4 and stuff like that. So, slightly cheaper than last week, so might gain a bit of ownership. Like I said, there are bye weeks, only 11 games, 10 on DraftKings, so concentrated ownership would be a little bit more concentrated as usual, but I think it's still a sharp play. Even though he's not one of my top plays, I just think Jaden Daniels is just a cheat code. I think he should be able to scramble from the pressure of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think there should be really much worry about Jaden, what he could do on the ground. Against the Steelers would be a case of what he could do in the air. When it comes to my top plays, I like Baker. I respect Baker. Big Baker fan. Glad he's back in the NFL. Like I said, him getting that second chance with LA pretty much changed his pretty much future. Because I don't think if he didn't get that second chance with LA, I don't think he's with the Bucks right now. Because the LA opportunity for about 4 games is what led to that 1 year deal, and then that's what got him his 3-4 year deal now. So congratulations to Baker, but he doesn't have. I understand he's gone against. He's had injuries to deal with, but with Baker being a talented quarterback, here's how I'm going to say it. This is Baker going against a very solid, a top 10 ranked defense with not all of his weapons. He's doing pretty decent, with the injuries and everything in the last 2 weeks against KC and Atlanta. And yes, KC is a great defense. But I really do think that the Cinderella shoe kind of stuff. That's the situation that I'm going with. I don't think Baker would be able to have the great game. I think he has a good football game, just not great fantasy output. I'm gonna put it like that, because when you look at the KC numbers, and that's a top 5 defense. Yes, he had 2 TDs, only 200 yards. It was under 20 points. He's 8,200. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive. But I don't think he's gonna have a great fantasy output. The guy under him, on the other hand, is one of my top plays, and he's actually one of my favorite plays on the slate, especially but he's definitely my favorite because, it's him, and the next guy that's going to be talking to about soon on the cover is Brock Purdy. I think with the pass funnel, Brock Purdy and his and his backups to his injured receivers are better than Baker Mayfield and the backup to his injured receivers. That's basically what I'm putting it up at. And like I said, Brock Purdy has the better matchup because San Francisco is going against a pass funnel. That's the reason why I went in depth with those 2 QBs. Basically the same situation. And then when you want to go to tight ends, Greg Kittle is a whole lot better than Cade Otton. Point blank simple. That's what my narrative I'm going with. He's actually my favorite play. Love it at 8,100. Even if Debo somehow gets back, his stacks or double stacks will be cheap. Jared Goff against, Houston needs to get back in the win column, but it's not the best defense. You got to love Jared Goff because you're going to get all your fantasy points and he's going to stay there. Like Josh Allen. Josh Allen so far, half the season's gone. I think he has 2 turnovers. That's it. I don't think Jared Goff has an interception yet this season, if I'm not mistaken. Those 2 QBs do not turn over the ball. Fumbles, lost, any of that. Fumbles, yeah. Off QB sacks, yes. But when it comes to interceptions, he has a couple early in the season. That's what it was. It's Josh Allen that has the great turnover ratio. I think he threw his first interception week 6 or 7. But with Jared Goff is in a great matchup with Houston. Most importantly, I think if you want to go double, like I said, one of my favorite guys that I've been picking, I haven't forgot about him. Remember, Jameson Williams comes back over suspension. It wasn't a 3 or 4 gamer. It's a 2-game suspension. This is one of those days where if he comes back, without even looking, he hasn't played in 2 weeks, and the last time he played, he didn't have a great game. He keeps bouncing from 5 to the mid-6s and drops again. He was suspended for 2 weeks. I'm just going to take a wild guess right now and say Jameson Williams got to be either at 61 to 6,000, the highest, and he's got to be in the high 5s, 57, 58, 59. That's my best bet of what I think he's going to be. So Jared Goff stacks, well, if you want to do him, Amon-Ra, him with a little Gibbs. So Laporta's still cheap because he's just on the turn on now. Definitely a great option. Here's the other guy that I'm featuring on the cover. He's getting used to his weapons with the trades and everything, and as you can see, it's really picking up in the last 2 weeks. Just look at the numbers from everything here, and now look, his best outputs of the season within the last 2 weeks. He's basically hovering around 20. This is where you want Patrick Mahomes. Before I recommend you get to Patrick Mahomes, like I say, this is one of those situations. Get to the party early before everybody gets there. Now, that sounds like an ownership play, but guess what? Get there when the ownership is not too crazy, even though concentrated ownership with less teams. But most importantly, get to Mahomes when you could afford other pieces and not worry about his stacks being too heavy. You're not going to get, this is probably going to be the last week. As long as he keeps on chugging and improving and staying in this 19 to 24 range, because this is not 9,000 Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, prime Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is 7,900. He's not 8,000. He's starting to turn it up. I actually would say all of y'all play Patrick Mahomes just to make FanDuel for not pricing him. He at least needed to be in the low eights. I thought he was going to be over 8,000 because it's the second week in a row. And like I said, this is Patrick Mahomes. But 7,900. This is where you take advantage of this fully. That's why him and Purdy are my top two plays this week. Let's go on. Sam Darnold against Jacksonville. He still remains solid even with a couple of losses. 293 touchdowns, a couple of interceptions, yes. 242 touchdowns. He's consistent. He's pretty much consistent. A couple of duds, but he's always in that 20 range constantly, except for 3 times this season. So Sam Darnold, and yes, it's an easier matchup. Now, obviously, because of how bad Jacksonville's defense is, the only thing you worry about is can he get enough out of Justin Jefferson in time before they milk the clock with Aaron Jones? Because Aaron Jones seems to be the focal point. He's not the best player on the team, but they give Aaron Jones constant carries. A low carry day for Aaron Jones is if he gets scripted out, even in blowouts, Aaron Jones still gets 15 carries. So that's 15 less opportunities. That's 15 less opportunities for Sam Darnold to throw the ball. But if he could hook up with Addison and Jefferson, and then like I said, I'm still waiting on. I'm when it comes to long-time injuries, I'm already telling y'all this. Fading McCaffrey. Everybody was kind of hyped about T.J. Hockenson. I faded Hockenson. These guys are going to be in the snap count. But Addison and those guys should be able. Jalen Reagor. These guys should be able to separate and get have Darnold at a nice price, 7,800. Get him his nice 240, 250, 260, 270 possibly, and maybe a touchdown pass to Jefferson where he gets most of his yardage, and then maybe a TD pass to Addison. As we continue. I actually like Kyler Murray sneaky this week. I don't trust the Jets defense. I think with the pressure, he's a headache. I'm done with Kyler Murray from what I said before. But like I said, no slate is the same. I think Kyler Murray can scramble and create something against this very inconsistent Jet defense. He has the fantasy upside to do so. As you can see, if we look back here, there are weeks. Look at the ebbs and flows of this. Like, there's weeks that I was part of some of these. Like, after the 28, like, it gets to 15-9. And then I wasn't there when he got to 25-1 and then 11-6, then the 21.2. He put a couple back-to-backs, and then he dropped to 4.76. So you know what that means? Against an inconsistent defense like the Jets, he's bound to get back up to the 18, 19, maybe even 20. And maybe even into the mid-20s. Why? Because of his running ability. So, I think he does have his floor. I think he has a 17, 18 floor. I think with scrambling and maybe a scrambling touchdown, Kyler Murray, like I said, I understand that's a 4th-ranked defense against opponent quarterbacks, but Jets defense isn't that good, or they're just not that consistent. I think they can give up some fantasy points and give up some yardage to the Cardinals. So Kyler Murray is definitely one of my sneaky. I'll be looking forward to him to see where the ownership lands with him. As we keep going down, yes, Kirk Cousins is always in play. Just got to look out to see what the stacks are going to be like. The minute Drake London is ruled out, he's kind of trending that way at the moment. Oh my God, I think Kirk Cousins jumps up in ownership because those stacks are going to be amazingly cheap. You will, and since Kyle Pitts is still, wishy-washy with the performances, like after they thought he was going to be so good in the beginning, Kyle Pitts is staying around high 5s, low 6s. So, not to say nothing crazy, even though you have Bijan there, but Kirk Cousins doubles and triples are going to be crazy affordable if Drake London is out. So, just keep that in mind. And as we keep going down a little further, when it comes to top plays, I actually like all the way going down here. I like Aaron Rodgers, with the weapons, the new weapons, Garrett Wilson. It's kind of concentrated, too, with Lazard being on IR. Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams are going against Arizona. Not the best secondary. They don't generate pressure that well. Somebody like Aaron that could, somewhat move in the pocket. He's not as agile as he was before. I actually like him. He's another play that I expect to be low owned, like Kyler Murray, which is the opposite of that game. So I actually have some high hopes for that game. I think that game could sneakily shoot out. I don't think it could be like a 50-something or whatever, but I think both teams could put up enough offenses where that could get into the mid-40s, mid to high 40s, like maybe fall short of a 50, 47, 48, 49, something like that. Or if it hits 50, hit 50 right on the dot. Both of the defenses that these two quarterbacks are going against should not be trusted. I mean, it's a tough matchup against KC, but the way Bo Nix throws the ball, takes care of the ball, and scrambles the ball, do I expect my Broncos to win this game? No. But the Broncos do enough to still make people like Nix and Cortland Sutton viable, fantasy viable. So when it comes to going down this far, it's only him, and then after that, Jim Harbaugh, who's very old school with the run game, they have finally unleashed him. And one of my favorite quarterbacks, I just loved him out of college coming out of Oregon, Justin Herbert. His passing attempts has taken an uptake, 27, 32, 39, from being 34, 27, 18, 20, and 26. There was also rumors of him also coming in the season hurt. But against Tennessee, like I said, you got to like him with his cheap wide receiver. So Justin Herbert, definitely somebody that I like at 6,900. And then that's the lowest I'm going. I don't plan on going any lower than that, even though there are options like Drake May, Derek Carr, and then obviously Trey Lance and Cooper Rush in the running for Dallas QB with Dak now in the IR with a bad hamstring injury. But that is the end of the QB video. I will be working on the running back video throughout the day. If I can get that later, I'll try, but most likely I'll work on it and release it tonight to let this video get some breathing room. This is Grady of Fantasy. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm signing off.